In this video, I will discuss some of the practical evidence, documentation and compliance arrangements that installers may be expected to demonstrate in relation to Appendix A of the MCS Installer Operating Requirements. It is important that installers should maintain appropriate training records or a training matrix for each technical supervisor. Qualifications should be recognised by MCS and copies of current certificates should be available. Where the technical supervisor is subcontracted, the assessor would normally expect to see a formal subcontract agreement. Where subcontractors are used, installers should ideally have a formal subcontractor agreement in place which clearly defines responsibilities, scope of work and expected standards of compliance. However, in practice, activities such as roofing and scaffolding are not always subcontracted in the formal sense, particularly where local companies are simply being engaged to undertake specialist works. Even in those circumstances, installers should still carry out reasonable checks. As a minimum, the installer should understand and retain copies of relevant insurance documentation and have confidence in the competence of the organisations being used, particularly for higher risk activities such as roofing and scaffolding. Installers should know where to locate and access the current versions of relevant technical information and guidance associated with the technologies being installed. This may include MCS standards, BS 7671, IET guidance documents, building regulations, manufacturer installation instructions and supporting design software. Access may be through either hard copy documentation or suitable internet-based resources. Installers may also use design software such as EasyPV or OpenSolar that an assessor could ask them to reference and demonstrate. In practice, installers should have access to the necessary tools, test equipments and commissioning equipment required for the systems within their scope of certification. Installers should also maintain a test equipment register together with copies of current calibration certificates for relevant equipment. Assessors will seek confirmation that installers are maintaining correct versions of checklists, work instructions and associated documents together with a simple method of version control and document review. Evidence might include issue dates, revision numbers, review dates or a simple document control register. An installer would be expected to demonstrate that adequate supervision arrangements are in place that ensure adherence to the applicable standards. Evidence might include supervision records, completed compliance checklists for each installation, photographic records and documented quality inspections. Photographs should ideally be time-stamped and include stages of work that may be difficult to verify following completion, such as roof mounting systems, cable routes, loft work or roof space installations. Note that where installation work is carried out with the direct involvement of the technical supervisor, the requirement for adequate supervision is generally considered to be satisfied. Installers are expected to maintain a complaints handling process together with an appropriate complaints log or complaints form. The complaints log should record details of the complainant, the installation concerned, the nature of the complaint, dates received and resolved, corrective actions taken, root cause analysis and steps implemented to prevent recurrence. Complaints, corrective actions and lessons learned should form part of regular management meetings, with records maintained of actions agreed and improvements implemented to prevent recurrence. Obtaining and reviewing customer feedback is also part of continual improvement. Evidence might include customer feedback forms, review records, follow-up communications and management meeting discussions where customer feedback and lessons learned are considered. Management review is often an area that installers underestimate, particularly within smaller businesses. In reality, a properly implemented management review process can form the centre of the quality management system and provide much of the evidence that assessors are looking for during an audit. When completed correctly, it demonstrates that the business is actively reviewing its own performance and compliance arrangements on an ongoing basis. This may include areas such as training and competency, calibration status, customer complaints and feedback, subcontractor oversight, non-conformities, corrective actions, documentation control, and general compliance monitoring. From an assessment perspective, it is not simply about holding documents. What assessors are often looking for is evidence that the business is managing itself in a structured and organised manner. Installers should maintain a secure and accessible record management system that keeps installation documentation, correspondence and associated records together and available for review. Evidence might include electronic or paper-based installation folders, cloud backup systems, document storage procedures and controlled access arrangements for installation records. GDPR requirements might be satisfied through controlled access to customer records, password-protected electronic systems, secure cloud storage, staff confidentiality arrangements, and documented procedures for the handling and retention of personal data. A consistent theme throughout Appendix A is the requirement for installers to demonstrate control systems, accessible evidence, and continual improvement within the business. In many cases, assessments are not failed because information does not exist, but because it cannot be demonstrated effectively during assessment. This is one reason why the management review process can become such an important part of the quality management system, particularly within smaller installation businesses. When properly implemented, a management review template can bring together many of the areas assessors are looking to verify. In practice, a well-maintained management review process often demonstrates that compliance is being actively managed throughout the business, rather than simply prepared for assessment day. If you found this video useful and would like further practical guidance on MCS compliance, assessment preparation and quality management systems, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching.